She's so spoiled. Aww. Look how cute. Welcome if you're new here. I'm Melissa, and if you're coming back to another video, thank you for being here. Today's video is going to be about this plant here. I'm going to give you a closer look at it. It's a variegated Micans, but it's the halo version. If you've been eyeing the halo Micans, I will say just keep in mind that it is unstable variegation. Some of mine actually wanted to revert. The leaf shape is very interesting. It's very elongated and pointy, and some leaves are very beautiful. I think the ones that have a lot of white are very pretty, but it's an interesting plant. And I will say it's not what I expected when I got my halo Micans. I thought it was the Aria, and it's a completely different plant. But this is driving me crazy. I just don't like this. This plant deserves something else, and I don't know what that is, but it deserves to not look like this. So I'm gonna take it apart, and I'm probably gonna propagate it up and probably do a trailing basket with it, I think. I think that's what I wanna do. I think this would look pretty trailing. And here's another look at the base. I just watered in nematodes yesterday, so I am going to reuse this and pot this back up into a pot. I'm going to take apart the Thiccly pole. Since I have 3 layers, it's connected in 2 spots, which means I have to cut the vine here in order to slide this out. Yeah, I'm literally just going to cut a straight line like that across all the vines, not cutting into any nodes, just like that. And I should be able to pull this one apart now. That is crazy. I was not expecting that. We are going to work with this bottom section first. I think I have some dry roots too that rotted because this pole seems to dry so quickly, which looks like it happened to a few of them. You can see where some of the roots in the moss kind of just dried. It's just like the sheath is pulling apart. This one doesn't even have any leaves on it. It's just an empty node. Well, I guess half of our root system is rotted, and I think that's just from the drying out that's happened. I've caused some dry rot with it. Well, now I'm glad that I'm taking it off. So that's a cute little section. If I just pot this up and have it trail, that's really cute. These roots are all dried up here, so I'm just cutting them off. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 nodes here. So I'm going to create a pretty large prop box with these. So all I'm doing is each little node, I'm just going to cut in between. So I'm going to cut here, here, cut in between each little section. I have a little towel over here where Luna is. I'm going to sit all my little Wetsticks on this towel, and then I'll propagate those at the end. And once that I'm taking off that the roots dried up, I'll just stick these in stratum, all the individual cuttings, and then I'll root them first. So I'm going to make 2 separate piles. Since this one here has a long aerial root, I'm going to cut below that node. Yeah, I'll keep that section. This is rooted, so I can pot that into the pot and then it will continue growing out of here because I really like that leaf. That's just too pretty to get rid of, that leaf there. And this, all of them actually are really pretty in that section, so I'll pot that up. I have another little section that's rooted, so I'll pop that up. And then ones that kind of have some rock going on, I'm just cutting the aerials off because they'll grow back. And then I'll root that one. And then I have another little wet stick here. Oh, I have to cut the vines again. So we're gonna cut here. And this one isn't rooted in there, so we can leave that one. We have a really long root. Wow, look at that crazy root that was growing all the way down. Let's do this section because there's only one strand on this one. Oh, gosh, flinging moss everywhere. Okay. Let's see what we're working with here. This is the very top section because it was growing off the pole. You can see there's just aerial roots here, and then I had bent it down the pole and then it started growing back up again. So this would make a good one in the trailing basket. I just have to see. And some of these are reverted, so I think I'm gonna cut here on this one. I'm gonna cut above these two reverted leaves because it'll leave me with, I think, enough little root system to plant into the soil. So I'm gonna cut right there. I'm gonna have to get rid of that leaf. And then I can pot this one into the soil as like a little trailing vine. And then since this kind of reverted, what I'll do is propagate this up. I'm gonna prop this one. Maybe some variegation can grow back. This one has the extremely long root. That's crazy. So we'll prop these two. I'm actually gonna cut this root because it's just one cutting. It doesn't need all that. So I'll have two kind of reverted cuttings. All right, and I have two little vines left. One of these were growing off the pole, like it wasn't even really that rooted. Let's see. Okay, two more sections, the last two. And what do we want to do here? Some of this was reverted too a little bit. So I think I will cut right here. This leaf is reverted. I'm gonna cut right above that. And I'm gonna get rid of this leaf because this is gonna go down into the soil. And so I'll have like a top cutting there. So I've already cut this before right there, right here, So this growth point that you see, this vine that's left, came out of this node. So if I cut this right here, this is a dead cutting because this node was already used to grow this vine, because it won't grow another vine out of that node since it was already used. There's not like another node to grow from. So I'd have to cut above that one in order for a new growth point to come out of that node. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. I could totally cut, oh my gosh, I cut the leaf off. Don't do that. Whoops, I meant to cut the vine and I cut the leaf. Okay, so I could totally cut this and get rid of this section. This is a dead cutting. Like, this won't do anything else. It'll grow from this node now. Now that it doesn't have a leaf, it'll still push like a growth point from here. But I'm just gonna root this like that. That was a green leaf anyway that I did that on, whoops. And I have 2 sections here. We're gonna cut this one to propagate that. And this one is all green, but this growth could potentially do something else. It's hard to say, but we'll just prop it and see what comes out of there. Oh, I have another little section. I didn't see that. This is unrooted, so we're gonna have to root that. Where did that come from? I have no idea. Last section, more reverted leaves. A lot of this is just dried roots that's like not hydrated. So once I stick this into soil, it's going to probably continue to rot. So that's why I'm cutting off these dead, dried roots. They're not doing anything for the plant. Oh, that's a beautiful leaf. Look at that. That is gorgeous. I'm back. So I just quickly cleaned up. I washed the cuttings out. These are all the cuttings that we're going to do in stratum. And I rinsed the plants, or the cuttings that have roots that I'm going to pot up separately. And then I have, oops, I forgot one. Just swish him around in there. I thought I grabbed them all. And then I have these Wetsticks here that we're going to do in moss. All right, so let's see, kind of divvy them up. I think the ones that are more green, that looks like they may have reverted, I'm gonna do together. Yeah, I think we have like 5 of those actually that are more just plain green. All right, so that's that one. Kind of have them shoved all to one side. Very curious if those will do anything. Next, let's do, there was one that was really pretty, like this one here. And this cutting here was absolutely gorgeous. Let's do those together. And the rest are kind of green too. This one's kind of more pointy. Let's do these 3 together, these 3 cuttings. I graduated my shovel scoop that I was doing before to a bigger scoop. Oh yeah, that one's pretty. Look at that beauty. And then I think we'll just do one more cup. We'll do all these ones, I think. A lot of these are mostly green too, so who knows what's gonna happen. I'm trying to get rid of the moss roots because it's gonna grow new ones in stratum. I'll water everything at the end. So again, we have mostly reverted here, mostly reverted here, and then the pretty ones here. So I'll put a little label on these, and so I don't like get confused at what they are, and then yeah, we'll see what they do. For the Wetsticks, this is all the moss that I had taken off the pole. I'm gonna take a little bit of this off. I have to moisten this and everything too. But all I'm gonna do is go down the line and just kind of bury the node side down where the aerial root is, kind of down. Actually, let's do them this way. It really doesn't matter which way you have them, as long as they're kind of loosely covered and you hold in humidity, they'll do well. Then kind of have them in a line like that, and then I'm just gonna loosely cover. And then I'll moisten this and cover this little tray with some saran wrap. And yeah, just kind of sit and forget type of thing. I'll just have to label it so that I know what it is. And then for our actual plant that we're going to restart, I'm just gonna use a clear container. I wanted to use one of my like white nursery pots, but I only have like the 3-inch, I don't have any 4-inch, and I wanted something just a little bit bigger. I still think this is a 4-inch, but I figured I would just use a clear pot. That way I can keep an eye on the root system. I'm gonna use a little bit of this reused, or this soil that the plant was in, just because I watered nematodes in. I just scoop a little bit in here, but I'm gonna use some fresh soil. Let's do a little scoop here. Minus the leca, I don't want the leca. Okay. Yeah, so we're just basically going to go around the pot, and then the ones that have the roots, we'll just make sure to get those far enough down. They should all have roots, just a couple of them are rooting from 2 nodes, so I just have to make sure to get those down. I'm just gonna go around the pot. I'm gonna sprinkle a tiny bit of the Myco in here because I feel like the root system will need it. When I do this, I like to lift the cuttings up. Like if you pile them around the edge, I like to lift them towards the middle so that you can actually get some soil on the other side of where the cutting was. And it will kind of slide it more towards the center. Because your goal is to just get the nodes buried well, so you want to make sure that you're getting all sides. It looks a little crazy right now, but it'll straighten itself out. Yes, this definitely looks a lot better. Okay, I have water. This is just regular water, no fertilizer or anything, because since I just watered the nematodes, I don't want to harm them by adding anything additional in my water as far as fertilizer or anything, since it's a liquid fertilizer. So I'm just using just regular filtered water. Now this plant, I did just recently water, but since I added a lot of fresh soil in here, I'm just going to combine the two. Just a light water, that's it. I'm not going crazy. And this was my like DIY mix with coco coir. It's very aerated. It's like my moss pole mix. So there's lots of airflow happening. So the roots will grow some new ones in some time here. And any of the vines I cut, like this one I cut on the top, a lot of these were already growing. They'll continue growing. But I think I at least had one or two that were cutting, so they'll reroute a new growth point. So now I just gotta find a cute little pot for this one. It's so cute. I like it so much better as a trailing plant. And it also, like, it's one less moss pole to worry about. I'll water in our stratum cups. I usually do about 3/4 to almost full, because it'll continue to wick up until there's no more water in here. I just use one container. I don't use one with holes or anything like that. Stratum does tend to dry pretty quickly. I thought I heard Luna meowing. Loon? It's getting dark so much earlier out with the time change here. Today's Monday, so the time went back yesterday, and I'm definitely not used to it. For our little wet sticks, we're just going to loosely water. The moss was pretty dry when I did this. I think that'll be good. I just don't want it soaking wet. And then for this, we're just going to cover. This is my go-to method for propagating wet sticks. Sphagnum moss, damp, in a container, cover tightly with saran wrap, sit it under some light. If you can keep it somewhere where it's warm and humid, even better. I sit and forget it. They'll sprout in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, however long it takes. It's just one of those things where I just don't even pay attention to it. Now I will check when I water, not all of them all the time, it depends. If some dry out more quickly than others, like if there is a little bit of airflow getting through, it can dry quickly. That depends. But for the most part, I don't have to water them or anything. And I don't even open them up to allow for airflow to happen. It kind of maintains itself. I feel like this one I'm definitely going to have to add a little piece of tape. I'll probably just add a little piece of tape. So I'm going to sit this on the plant shelf in the other room, and I'm just going to put a label on it just so I know what it is and I don't forget. And then same with these, I'm going to sit these on the plant shelf in the other room. And then this one I will put probably back on my plant shelf somewhere in here. And then I'll probably eventually, no, I'm gonna let this one trail. I thought about adding like a trellis or something. I could add a trellis, maybe one day, but for now I'm just gonna let it do its thing in here. So much happier with this. I'm so happy I took care of this. It was bugging me. It really was bugging me. I was watering my poles last night, and I was watering it. I'm like, the moss is hydrophobic again, like constantly. And I'm like, I like this plant, I really do, and I want to love it when I look at it. I don't want it to stress me out. So I think I'm just gonna like it so much better this way. So let me know if you have one. How do you have yours growing? Or if you're looking to get one, will you still get one after this video? I do like it, and I'm happy that I have it. I think a small little plant is very cute of it. I don't know, like eventually if it is allowed to climb and mature, how big the leaves would get. You are risking the reversion happening, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I am happy that I have it, but I feel like if I didn't have it, I would be okay not having it. So I hope you enjoyed and you thought this video was helpful or interesting. Thank you so much for watching and for being here, and I will talk to you guys again very soon.